Okay. When you first open this up, it's very possible that you're going to find a bunch of numbers that are in it that are in the yellow. And you can just delete all of these numbers if you want to. So anything that's in yellow, just delete it and enter all of your own values. But to give the example of how it works, I'm actually going to use the values that were left in here. So this is what we have. We have somebody who had a 100 amp hour battery. They started their day out at 80 amps, which is 80%. They have a 165 watt solar panel. And this is what they put in there for their loads. So they had a load for the max air fan, and my max air fan is 2.5 amps, running that for 1 hour. They have a light. These are your circular 4.5-inch LED lights that you have on the ceilings of most modern RVs. That's a 0.5 amp. I'm going to actually raise this up to 8. 8 times in hours for that, and that's because I'm looking at more than one light being on. This was interesting. They have the water pump being on for 4 hours. Now, your typical RV water pump pumps approximately 3 gallons per minute. So with a 55-gallon tank, you're definitely not going to get 4 hours out of running that water pump. I'm going to change that to 15 minutes, which is 1/4 of 1 hour. So that would be 0.25. So take notice that this value that I've got down here, this negative 48.7, is rounded up and entered over here. So this automatically is set up. This cell, whatever ends up in this cell, is what comes up in this one here. And this continues for all 7 days that this simulator is working for. I kept it all as everything is the same for each day, except for the weather, because that's something that we know will change. Okay, so at this point, the way that this is working with the amount of energy that this person is using, and they have a 12 volt, 8 cubic foot refrigerator. And by the way, while I'm over here, I just wanted to show you this. I have this one not really in yellow. This one's in gold. You can change this if you wanted to. If you didn't have that type of a refrigerator and you wanted to put that to something different, you can put that to 10. You may adjust that. There's going to be a warning that comes up for you. I used 8 because after months of testing, my refrigerator is basically on 1/3 of the time. And that's with my refrigerator almost always 100% full. Okay, so I just threw some values in here. So at this point, so the way that this person's system is set up, in full sun with the 165 watt solar panel and the 100 amp hour battery, starting at 80%, if they left and they had an overcast day, it's overcast and raining, and those are the days that you really get barely any solar, as you can see the drop here from 91 down to 52. Okay, but the next day was mostly sunny. The next day was mostly cloudy. The next day mostly sunny. Then I have an overcast, and then again mostly sunny. They would end up being able to make it up to day 6 before they ended up draining their battery. At this point, they're going to be hoping for some mostly sunny days. Let's just change this down to full sun for all of them. If they were lucky enough to have full sun, you can see right off the bat here that they went from the 80, even with this negative 48 drain and the 165 watt panel, they were able to increase to their 100% and stay at the 100%. The sun is great. But what if they had a washout? Every single day that they were out, it rained. Well, I don't even need to go much further for you to see the weather forecast here. So look at the difference between having full sun and having rain when you have solar. They started at 80, they went down to 40, they're at 2. They made it for just 2 days. Pretty much one full day of rain was enough to make it so that 165 watt panel barely made it through the second day. It did not make it to the third day. We can't say 2 amp hours left in the battery is significant and good enough. So they're barely going to make it for over a weekend if they end up if you're going out in the rain with your solar panel, and in this case with a 12-volt electric refrigerator. If you don't have a 12-volt electric refrigerator, then you will be able to make it a lot longer because you won't be draining this negative 40 amp hours. Here's a question now. This is what they've got. What's the best choice to make it so that they can last longer? Would it be to increase the capacity of their battery, or would it be to increase the capacity of their solar panels? And these are the options that you can get. So this is pretty much what you can change. You're not going to be able to change the weather. You can, of course, stay home when it's not going to be good weather, but if you're out and you want to be able to have more energy and be able to last longer, so one option is going to be to double the capacity of your battery. So if I doubled the capacity of the battery, this is an important one. So I doubled the capacity of the battery, but my starting capacity, he had it at 80. I'm going to change that to, not 800, that's too much. I'm going to change that to 180. Okay, so with the 180, they were able to pretty much double the number of days that they were able to be out. They're able to get out through day 5 now with the double capacity battery. So if they went with a 300 amp hour, and you know what? I'm just going to change this to 300, and let's just pretend that that's full. Okay. So with the 300 amp hour, you can see that they're draining. Little by little, they're draining. I've actually still have some full sun. I've got some full sun days here, but that's going to be significant. The 300 amp hour size battery with the 165 is enough to be able to keep them going. And the way we can see that is it's draining over these overcast days. See, these are all overcast days up to this point, and we are draining. So we're losing about 40 amp hours per day. So then you can see even on this mostly sunny day, they only ended up dropping down approximately 20 amp hours. Okay, so if you want to use this for yourself, the first thing that I would do is I would just go right in. Anything you see in yellow, just get rid of it. Change all those values. And now you've got a fresh sheet that you can put your own values in. For me, this is what I have. I've got 900 amp hours of battery. I'm just going to start my day out full. I have 965 watts of solar. I have a max air fan. Let's say I'm going to use my max air fan for 6 hours during the day. I'm going to have my lights on for, let's say, on average for all of them for 12. The other ones, I'm just going to put a 2 in there. Like I said, there's a lot of just kind of guessing with this. Again, I'm going to go with the 15 minutes that I did the last time. Okay, so with all overcast and the size of everything that I've got, I am at a negative 63.5, averaged out to 64, as you see across the board. I'm doing just fine. I've got some overcast days. You can see by the time that I got to the mostly sunny day, I've already brought myself back up to my full charge because I've got so much solar. So in my system, I have an inverter. With the inverter, I end up using the air fryer. We use a coffee maker. We pretty much keep our inverter on 24/7. I'm just going to throw in some numbers in here. So let's say that we're using 300 amps out of my inverter for, by the way, this one's going to give me a warning, and it's going to be for 1 hour. Okay, so using 300 amps out of that inverter, it's not looking good for me right here. So with these overcast days, I'm not going to last. I'm going to have to, well, I guess I'm just going to have to stop using my air fryer. There have been times where after a month of being off the grid and with it raining and being constantly cloudy, we have actually unplugged our inverter at night. But let's make some happy times here. And let's look at what would it be like if I had full sun. If I had full sun, you can see already that full sun is working pretty well. It's giving me back most of what I'm using, but not quite. I still am slowly losing by dropping 364 amp hours per day. I am slowly going down. So the maximum that I can be draining is going to be less than 365 amp hours. So if I use that for half the time, that number changes. Now I'm down to negative 200 amp hours. And I'm going to do just throw mostly cloudy in here. And it's going to do I'm going to get some rain too at the end of the week. Okay, so using the 200 amp hours throughout the day, notice that I'm just slowly dropping. I'm not gonna sustain myself for weeks at a time. It's not gonna work. I'm gonna need to really slow down the amount of current that I'm using and the amount of power that I am draining out of my battery, because my solar is not going to replenish itself with the weather being overcast. There's a huge difference between the weather being overcast and the weather being sunny. So when I created this, what I did was I locked all of the cells, so you should only be able to adjust cells that are yellow. Hopefully this will work well for you, and please give me some feedback and give me in your comments. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think I should change.